Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sang and today we're going to be talking about the book, The Psychology of Money. Introduction. The Psychology of Money is a timeless lessons on wealth, greed, and happiness. It's a book by Morgan Housel that explores how people think about money, how they behave with money, and how much our psychology matters in financial decisions. Rather than focusing on technical investing strategies such as stock picks, Housel emphasizes the behavioral side, how habits, mindset, emotions, personal histories, luck, and risk shape our financial outcomes. In this report, I will summarize the main ideas, walk through major themes and chapters, evaluate what I found compelling and less so, and reflect on how one might apply the lessons. Summary of key ideas. Here are some of the core lessons from the book. Behavioral matters more than intellect. Housel argues that how you behave with money matters far more than how much you know about finance. Simply knowing investing formulas, economic theory, or financial models doesn't guarantee success in your behavior. If your behavior is inconsistent, emotionally driven, or short-term. For example, doing well with money has little to do with how smart you are and a lot to do with how you behave. Your personal experience shapes how you view risk, what you consider normal, what you expect. Luck and risk. One major theme: success is not purely the result of skill, and failure is not purely the result of foolishness. Luck and risk play large roles in financial outcomes. Housel uses stories such as people who happen to be in the right place at the right time, or companies that fail despite good strategy, to illustrate that outcomes are probabilistic and influenced by external factors beyond our control. The implication: recognize the margin of uncertainty, be humble in success, be cautious in interpreting failures. Compounding and time horizon. Another central idea is the power of compounding growth over time, and time is one of the greatest assets in building wealth. Housel emphasizes that starting early, staying invested, being patient, and avoiding major mistakes matter a lot more than trying to make high returns quickly. He also points out that people underestimate how large time horizons can transfer moderate savings into large outcomes. Enough and avoiding the game status. A theme that recurs is knowing when you have enough and avoiding comparing yourself to others, which often leads to risking, lifestyle inflation, and poor decisions. Housel argues that wealth is often invisible. What you don't spend, what you save, what you avoid showing off. He reminds the reader that chasing status or modeling others can undermine financial goals. Staying wealthy versus getting wealthy. Housel distinguishes between strategies for building wealth and strategies for keeping it. He argues that many people focus on getting rich fast, but sustaining wealth and avoiding ruin have different challenges. Avoid catastrophic losses, being resilient, manage risk, acknowledge that things may go wrong. He introduces the idea of tails, rare but extreme events, and how success often relies on a few outcomes, avoiding big disasters. Freedom and control. A key lesson: the highest dividend money pays is control over your time. The freedom to make choices, to not be dominated by external constraints. Housel argues that financial freedom matters not simply for consumption, but for autonomy. In other words, money's real purpose is often to give you options, flexibility, and peace of mind, rather than just more stuff. You want to read this?
No.
Why not?
I don't know how to read.
You don't know how to read?
No.
Chapter walkthrough and detailed themes. The book is structured as a set of 19 short chapters. In the edition, I review each with a story, an idea, a lesson, and a lesson. I'll highlight some of the particularly notable chapters and themes. Chapter 1, No One's Crazy. The idea: everyone's financial decisions make sense to them given their personal history, upbringing, culture, and experiences. What seems irrational to one person might make perfect sense to someone else based on the world view. Therefore, when you see someone making a financial decision you don't agree with, rather than calling them crazy, try to understand their context. Chapter 4, Compounding. Hauser emphasizes that compounding is counterintuitive. Big results accumulate slowly, invisibly, over time periods, and many people fail to appreciate the arithmetic of it. Example, someone starting early with modest savings might far outpace someone who starts later aiming for higher returns but suffers setbacks. He highlights the importance of time more than trying to beat the market. Chapter 6, Tails Yuan. It introduces the concept of tails, extreme events with disproportionate impact. Success in finance is often non-linear. You don't need to be right all the time. You need to avoid major mistakes and let a few big wins accumulate. This means being okay with wrong many times, but not being wrong in a catastrophic way. Being resilient matters. Chapter 8, The Man in the Car Paradox. This chapter hits on status and appearance. When you see someone in a fancy car, you admire the car rather than the person in it. It's a paradox of display. The message, spending to show off often doesn't know what you think it buys. Respect, admiration, and may degrade your long-term wealth. Summary. Chapter on freedom. The chapter argues that freedom, the ability to wake up and say, I can do what I want today, is the highest dividend that money gives. It is more valuable than lavish consumption. This ties back to the idea that money's true payoff is the option it affords you. Other supporting themes. Our upbringing, what economic time we grew up in, whether we had scarcity or plenty, all affect how to view risk and return. Pessimism sells. Optimism doesn't feel urgent. But long-term investing often requires optimism, or at least avoiding under pessimism. Savings matter, even if you don't know exactly what you're spend them on. Having flexibility is valuable.